This video explains your next major assignment, which is your interview memorandum assignment. It's called in your syllabus a dossier, which means that it is comprised of various component parts. This assignment itself does have three parts. It has an interview memorandum, or a memorandum that discusses an interview that you had, which I'll come back to. It has an interview transcript, and it has a section dedicated to notes that you took. So it has three parts. So I'll show you that assignment in its entirety in a moment. You're going to have meetings with technical and professional communication practitioners. These interviews will happen in room 217 in the Humanities building. Now I have a Google Docs sign-up sheet, and I have the link for it right here in your to-do list. You need to, number one, read the assignment, which is available here, and I'll talk about it in a minute. And then you need to start doing your secondary research, and you need to sign up for your session on the sign-up sheet. So here is the sign-up sheet. When I'm recording this video, it's actually not totally ready for you guys, but I wanted to get this video done. But you'll see that there are 4 days. Any students who wanted to sign up for that session would need to write their names underneath here where it says students up to 5 can sign up. Now, this is an online class, so there's a decent chance that there will be a handful of students who just simply can't get to campus for one of these. I'm happy to Skype you in, as it says here at the top, so you just need to write Skype next to your name. If you do need to Skype in, I would prefer that only one person Skype in per session. So if you already see somebody with Skype next to their name, try to pick a different day if possible. If we must have more than one person Skype in, we'll be able to work that out, but I guess we'll just see how that works out here. So a few of these practitioners have filled in their bios. Okay, so that's one of the first things you need to do. Be sure that you have an interview session selected. Then you need to read Chapter 6 in your Markel textbook because it prepares you for interviewing subject matter experts. And as soon as your interview session is done, whatever day it's done, you need to begin drafting this dossier, this document that you're going to turn in to me as your next major assignment. Now, here's the page for the interview memorandum assignment. Now, this is where you will return when it comes time to submit the final assignment. The draft is due in the discussion board, and you'll see that there is an item listed here for peer review interview memorandum dossier. This is where you would submit the peer review when it comes time to do that, and this is the structure that you should use to perform your peer reviews. Even a great student submission deserves attention from peer reviewers, not just a pat on the back like, you did a great job, I don't see any changes for you to make. Please go through these 5 questions and do your best to provide feedback, even to submissions that you think are already really strong. So that's where you will turn in your draft. Okay, so back to the memorandum assignment itself. So the assignment looks like this. I have all of the deadlines listed here at the top, and I disclose the purpose of the assignment up at the top, and you can read all of this in detail on your own. I give this numbered list here of the things you need to turn in as part of this final dossier. Now I'm going to summarize so I can get through this video relatively quickly, but every interview session is hopefully going to include about 5 students. There are 5 questions that need to be asked of the practitioners that are in common, and that is these 5 bullet points. So the students in the session will go through, each student will ask one of these. Then you need to have at the ready 1 or 2 questions of your own design, something that from doing secondary research, as I describe in this assignment, you come to as a subject that you want to know more about. So you have to come prepared with 1 or 2 of your own questions that after these 5 are answered, each student will go through and ask his or her own questions. So you need to review the article from Intercom that you read earlier in the semester, and you need to be sure that you understand the 9 proficiencies that their foundation exam is based upon. These 9 proficiencies and your knowledge of them can inform your questions that you design. This is not to say that all of these practitioners will be familiar with this exam even, but you're familiar with it and you understand that our course has a lot of resonance with these with these proficiencies, so you might want to use them to motivate or inspire your questions. So you should also look at the Society for Technical Communication Facebook page and do just some general poking around online to learn about what technical and professional communicators do. Now, this information gathering constitutes your secondary research. So you need to take notes as you do that. So you're using this foundational research to inspire the questions you're going to ask, but you need to take such detailed notes that later on, when you're writing your memorandum, you can maybe quote from some of those sources that you read. In your interview session, you need to record the answers that the practitioners give. So that means you can either transcribe the interview by hand or you can ask permission to record it with an audio device. You need to ask permission though before you do it. Now, you will be creating an interview transcript as the second part of this dossier, and there's information in your textbook on how to write up an interview transcript, and I will be showing you some examples a little bit later in this video. Now, you might imagine that an hour-long interview session would be a really, really long thing to transcribe. You do not necessarily have to include every single word that was mentioned in the course of the hour. It would just be really time-consuming for you to do that. So you can take out chunks of the interview that you don't think are relevant, or if there's like a lot of filler words or gabbing going on, you can take that out and include ellipses in your transcript. And if you have questions about how to do that, you can ask me. So here's a section that discloses specifically what you need to write about in your memo. I'm not going to read that through right now in this video, but you took when you were doing your poking around online in your research. You just need to include the notes, that's all. I will say that the dossier that you submit has these 3 parts: the memo, the interview transcript, and the notes in that order. In the assignment itself, I talk about the interview first, the memo second, and the notes third. That's not the order that they go in, so I'm sorry that that's out of order. Here at the end is the value that the different parts of this assignment are worth for a total of 90 points. The rubric is also available on this page. Here's a link to it, and it looks like this. You can read it again on your own time. There's 3 parts of it. The memo part has some subcomponents. The interview transcript part has some subcomponents, and then the notes just has a flat 10-point value. Okay, so before I sign off on this video, I want to show you a few examples from last semester of student work on this. So here is one student's assignment, and I'm not going to show you the very top of it, but you'll see that he has his memo divided up into several sections. He has a purpose section, an introduction section, and a section where he talks about the interview. This is not the transcript, but he gives context. He talks a little bit about what happened in the interview. And you can see that that section altogether is about 2/3 of a page long, even though it's split across 2 pages. Then he discloses flat out that this section is going to talk about his outside research. Other students integrate that without calling it out with a section heading, but this student preferred to involve his secondary research in this way, just forthrightly. And then he has a conclusion. Now you'll scroll down and you see that he's got his questions and answers for all of the interview questions. And then he has a section, notes from scholarly sources. And here they are. And your notes don't have to be in any specific format at all. I just want them to be there. So let's see here. Here is another student's assignment. And the last one was a high B. This one was an A assignment. This student has a header, and she again has a purpose statement, an introduction section, and then she comes right out and just lists the common 5 research questions. That is a tactic that you could use if you wanted. You could also just integrate them into the interview section and just talk about them in their own paragraphs within the interview section. But the overall purpose of this is to really reveal that you understand the interaction between academic training in technical and professional communication and workplace realities. And you're using this subject matter expert interview and your secondary research to kind of bring that forward in this memo. This student also has a section dedicated to resources. These are her secondary sources here. And a conclusion. Then she has her interview transcript, her question and her answers, questions and answers. And then she has her notes section. Okay, and the final one that I want to show you, this one got a 99%. So this one was nearly perfect. This student went above and beyond, did more than I asked, and was very fastidious with citing both the practitioner interview. This is the person he interviewed, Faith Tinnen. He cited his interview with her parenthetically, introduced and contextualized what was going on with the role of practitioners within the larger scope of technical and professional communication. The student speaks directly to the online and scholarly research, and then he has an analysis section where he digs a little bit deeper into some of the takeaways from this experience that he had, and then he has a conclusion. Now his transcript he refers to as Appendix A, and it is exhaustive. Now, you don't have to do as much as this student did. He told me, frankly, this took him several hours. So please do not think that you have to do this. And this isn't the only reason he got a 99%. I mean, he could have done less on the transcribing and still gotten a very high score. But this is very, very extensive. He even includes like my banter back and forth with the visitor at the beginning of the session. So this transcript is really, really long. Again, don't be terrified by how long it is. The student, as I said, did more than he needed to do there. And then he gives the research notes and he breaks them down by day and what he found and what he looked at. He really, really did a lot of work. So those are the 3 examples I wanted to show you. All of those were successful assignments. All of those students did well on this assignment. So use those as a guide. I will talk to you guys next time, and I will see you all at the practitioner interviews because I will be at all of them in person, and it will be nice to meet some of you face to face and to see the rest of you. Bye.